Hello, everyone. Welcome to Meticulous Talks on September 3rd. I am, as always, Chris Cords.
Damn Hifrock.
If we sound a little different today, I think both of us are on audio setups we don't usually use.
Yeah.
First of all, fingers crossed you can hear us at all. I tested it out. I'm pretty sure that I caught everything this time. But obviously, if audio happens, then let us know in chat. Otherwise, this is the first weekend after Continentals.
Yeah. How was Continentals, Cursed?
It was pretty great, honestly. I didn't do particularly great, obviously. I was like, I had a few pretty close games. I feel like I maybe could have made top 8 if I had played a bit better. But that's okay. The top 8 was really fun to watch regardless.
Cool.
And it was a really diverse meta, as we'll get to. There was some control, there was some farm, there was some pretty lightning fast aggro. There were some new players just kind of getting their feet wet. It was, I guess, a smaller field than either of us predicted, but
Yeah.
still a successful tournament, I'd say. Did you get a chance to catch the stream, or?
Oh, no, not at all. I've been
Oh, right, of course.
very busy with other things.
Yeah, sorry, that makes sense.
So should we
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
just jump into it?
Both of us, I suppose it stands to be said. I need to be getting on a plane in a few hours, and Hithrock has his own thing to get to. So
Yeah.
we are both incentivized to move quickly today. So let's just jump right in. And we're going to be doing the top 8 and usual bottom to top like we usually do. So that means we're starting with Pancake, who was 7th seed, 3-3 in Swiss with Leno White. And I guess with that tiny little bit of pink in there for the Wrath of Gildas.
It's farm.
It's,
Isn't
yeah,
it?
who'd have thought, right?
Yeah.
Although this is, I think, like, well, Pancake has done Blue Farm in so many different ways over the years. Like, was it? It wasn't yellow last year, although I know he experimented with yellow last year. And then it's white this year, the much kind of, well, more point-oriented version, as you say, with both the
Yeah.
Pirate Rarity and the Changeling thrown in there.
Just a little extra point acceleration.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I ever actually faced him in Swiss, unfortunately. But I can say at least that, well, I watched his top 8 match, which was a real heartbreaker, unfortunately.
Oh, what happened?
So he was versus Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
the eventual second place finisher, and the match went to the third game, and Pancake was looking very good. Like we weren't in time, but he was at 14 points, and he had a face down Tempest on the field. So next turn he wins guaranteed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Instagram was at, I believe, 8 points, and like there had just been a fresh DFO. He had like 5 AT, and
Yeah.
like everybody on Pancake's side of the board, basically, who had been watching it was like, okay, well, this is over clearly. But that yellow blue deck managed to score. He managed to pull off a triple confront with a final question.
Oh, so he just scored 7 points?
He just scored 7 points and
Yeah.
won the game in one turn.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. Pancake was justifiably salty about that for the next couple of days.
Yeah. When you only need 1 point. Or one more turn.
It wasn't a final question. Let me see, because it was 1, 2, 3 from the confronts, and then there was a bonus. Oh, right, there was a buckball strategy. Yeah, that's right. 3, 4, 5, 6,
Maybe
and
a
then
Bunyip or something as the seventh?
oh, there might have been a bunyip in there too. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. And then yeah, there was a Fluttershy in bulk available. Like yeah, he could have scored 8 points if sorry if he had wanted to, but he
Yeah.
only needed 7 for the win. Yeah, you know, Prism Light does make a legitimate point. This deck is lacking in any
Interaction?
any immediate speed interaction. There's Grogar's Lair, of course, but well, when you're against a yellow deck, resources are less useful.
Yeah. But I mean, farming decks are kind of known for reduced interaction. Because they can usually do their own thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, time's gone by. The villains were your interaction. Not anymore, obviously, because there aren't hardly any villains in core.
Yeah. Should we move on?
Sure, I guess so. We don't have to go that quickly, but let's go. So next up is Bugle. 1 year that I didn't predict Bugle would win. So I was actually kind of rightish. Let's see. Bugle was playing right, Skystar and many things. This is the right. This is a somewhat lighter form of Reanimator, I guess, compared to Page's deck up in the top. They're both similar. This one, like he has less alicorns in it, I'm pretty sure. Well, actually, yeah, the number of alicorns might be about the same. Less 3-color cards. But yeah, broadly, yeah, a little bit more removal. Wait, they both have Belly Flop and Chaos Magic Blast.
But like, if this is Reanimator, why people are playing Skystar instead of like Student 6? To be a little bit faster, or?
Sorry, I'm just comparing their two decks here. Page's deck also has Plurite in it. Grand pause. Yeah, so I guess the answer to your question is that yeah, like because Royal Family is the main way that Reanimator works these days, rather than
Yeah.
Orchard Blossom slash. Well, I guess Catchy Song's still in there, and also +1 as well. It so admittedly, my skill isn't particularly great with new style Reanimator. I would guess Skystar is obviously great because she gets your pink online early.
Yeah.
which gives you more, control in the early game, as Grandpa's points out, for flops and
Mm-hmm.
Chaos Magic Blast
And Pinky Sense, I guess.
and Pinky Sense. Yes, this isn't really a chaos deck. Well, Pinky Sense is your primary way of getting stuff into the discard if you are going to play a +1. Yeah, or a catchy song. I think someone, maybe someone who's a little bit more knowledgeable on the style than I. I actually don't think I even watched. I don't know if I watched any Reanimator deck get played in the
And
event.
you haven't played against them either?
No,
Wow.
yeah, which is weird actually. Yeah, now you mention it because there's two of them in there. But no, I spent. I mean, I see your messages, Grandpa's. In that, yeah, more removal early, and more control early. Yeah, I've said. I just don't know if I can really comment anymore about strengths of this style versus the other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a relatively big play. Thanks for pointing that out. Yes, the hasty royal family into Catajack was a play that caught several people off guard in the tournament. A pretty interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, so it's basically a board wipe for free AT at
Mm,
immediate speed.
yes, yeah,
That's fun.
yeah. It's it struck me as somewhat interesting over the event, right? Because having a royal family in your deck is basically a way of saying friends in your hand have hasty and cost 3 AT, so long,
Yeah.
but the opponent also gets to do something, right?
Yeah.
Versus like there's that pink resource that's like friends in your hand have hasty so long as you pay one more for them, right?
Yeah.
And that hasn't seen a whole lot of play.
Well, the AT reduction is kind of a big thing here, right?
Hmm.
You pay free AT, you don't need the Rex.
Well, you know,
You only need pink and white. So
yeah.
it's a big difference from your friends just having hasty because you also ignore their requirements to play them, including the cost.
Hmm. And I guess obviously the cost quotation mark that the opponent also gets to put something into play
Yeah.
is generally not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, as we know, symmetrical effects are not that symmetrical. Because when you put a card in your deck that has like a symmetrical effect, you'll probably get more out of it anyway, because you're building around it.
Hmm. Yes, and Grandpa's also points out royal family into Twilight. Pretty great against farm. You can protect all your friends against getting frightened if there's a villain out.
Yep.
Okay. Shall we move on?
Sure.
Next up is Max from Vancouver. Yeah, down the line. I should actually look. I haven't looked yet. If how similar this deck, Cadence Blue, how similar is this to Elfin Pen's version? She also plays Cadence Blue, of course.
Not on this tournament though, right?
No. Cadence Blue, here it is. Officially, they look pretty similar. Well, there are some key differences. So Max has got Daybreakers. That's a big difference. And he doesn't have the Discords that are in Elfin Pen's version. Which means he's well, isn't able to guarantee his final questions.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they're very similar to each other. And which isn't exactly surprising, because that deck has been doing pretty well in the online events that Elfin Pen's played it in. Having a hard time versus 12 makers. That makes sense. If he's missing the problem replacement with Discord. Oh,
GP mentions that this deck had a hard time against troublemakers,
yeah. He
which makes
also.
sense.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Yeah. No, go on.
I was just going to mention he also the pirate dashes are also only in his version, not from Pens.
But yeah, it makes sense this deck had a difficulty against TM. There aren't many tools here to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 3 dilemmas, and I think that's it.
Well, I mean,
Everything else is just like, brute forcing.
well, yeah. I
Oh,
would
I guess there's
kind of
also
consider
focused
Swinging
attention.
Wonders to be a anti-troublemaker tool, kind of, sorta.
Yeah. And focused attention as well. Missed that.
Focused attention, yeah. And smile, smile, smile is a problem replacement sometimes. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you know what? Actually, having Discord instead of Daybreakers makes it better against troublemakers because it's an extra problem replacement.
Yeah.
And you get a final question.
And you get a final question.
So.
Yeah. Daybreaker is a much more, well, yeah, slower. It is point acceleration. But it kind of gets you into a bit of a slower game plan.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, you're broadly in the same vein of cheap stuff. Go with cadence. Good amount of removal to get your Gallus and Silver Streams for free. Actually, with Pirate Dash in play, you'd have plenty of Frighten to get your Gallus and Silver Stream for free as well, actually.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to move Pony Pirate for that. Pirate Dash, but.
Yeah.
In the worst case, it's 280, move a friend, and play Gallus and Silverstream.
Yeah.
And now that I think of it, I think that's what you actually do, because other than Swinging Wonders and like Loyal Pony, there aren't a lot of moves in this deck, right?
There is problems here. I guess moving out doesn't really count because you need to frighten something first.
Yeah.
I suppose that's that is right, I guess. Okay. Next up.
Yeah. Sure.
After that, oh yeah, pages. The other reanimator that I mentioned earlier. Which I gotta say, I mean, just including Ember makes this obviously the better deck in my opinion. I'm I really like that Ember card, even though I again, this is one that I didn't face. I don't know if he ever actually used it in the tournament or not.
Isn't that is Ember here just for is it a sideboard card in this deck because it's a singleton
You'd think so, yeah, as a singleton for sure.
against farm and other things?
Um, yeah, pretty good against farm. In fact, it'd be really good against farm. That'd be your expectation. Yeah, Chrysalis as well points out in there as well.
Mm.
Oh yeah, throne counters farm as well. Well, throne I think is a pretty good play given that we knew there was going to be a couple of chaos control decks in the event. Throne makes a fair amount of sense.
Yeah, and I think like Bugle's deck had the mysterious disappearances as his like resource removal,
Mhm.
and you when Throne is out, you can't use it with Pinky Sense.
Yep.
Which I think is pretty big because you have to play them, and I mean these decks don't really care about discarding cards all that much, right? But still,
Both yes and no. Like maybe your hand's clogged up with alicorns anyway, and you can
yeah,
discard them, but otherwise, you might have useful stuff in your hand that you
yeah.
would have to discard. For what it's worth, and I guess if Grandpa's is here in the chat, yeah, and as well as several others. So didn't realize that we had this many audience members. I don't really get the name of this deck for what it's worth. Like I understand you play the royal family and you play the alicorn from hand, but like I got the sensation that it was supposed to be a reference to something, and that part flew over my head. So I am opening the door for someone to enlighten me. Okay.
Oh, I think now I get it.
Okay. That's probably enough for me to understand. Thanks. And pause. Yeah. This, for what it's worth, by the way, I'm pretty sure this is right. Pages match versus Feathers in the top 8. I think it did go to hard time. Which means we had one elimination match that went to hard time.
Cool.
So I guess in that sense, versus the stream 2 weeks ago, I was right.
I don't even remember what we had on that stream, but it'll be fun to check sometime
Yeah.
after because I think you recorded all of the
I did.
questions and
I
answers.
still
Yeah,
have the document with me right now. Yeah.
you could make like a Reddit post. It would be fun.
Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, on to the top 4.
Sure. Speaking of feathers,
Speaking of Feathers, yes. And so Feathers made quite a splash at the convention. First of all, because she hadn't played in multiple years, really. I think pretty much not since Applejack got banned, as that did kind of decapitate the deck that she preferred to play. And so it was obviously great to have her back. and of course for her to make it so far in the event. She told me during the Swiss match that we played against each other that she really would have preferred there be more troublemakers in this deck, um, which isn't exactly surprising for anyone who knows her. But this is about as many as you can get in there, really.
Yeah.
There's really not much else you can do in core, unless you want to put in like Tree of Harmony or something, I guess. And this is pretty standard orange farm. A lot like the way it used to be played, frankly. A pretty powerful main character and lots of extra flips, and you just kind of do it with brute force. Oh, that's right. There is no Pony of Shadows in here. That's true. Fair enough.
So do you just win here with extra flips? Because I don't see any way for your main to have more power.
Yep, extra
Oh.
flips, and we're back at the usual good old flip average of higher than 5.
Ah, yes.
And yeah, you just flip more. And there are lots of ways to flip more.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
Rainbow Laser will do it. Power Play will do it. The let down hard to put Big Hoof into your discard pile for extra flips.
Okay, so here's a question. So I know Groger is really like good main for this deck, right? Because you get your free orange immediately. You can play all of the cards.
Or
You
orange,
can,
actually, but yeah.
yeah. So yeah, exactly. But do you think it'll be an interesting option to have Starlight as a main here instead?
Uh,
So you can
we're
choose
in core.
Dragon for
Okay.
power play.
Hmm. Starlight, eh? It's an interesting idea.
Like unlike Smolder, like we have a Dragon main, right? But Smolder is kind of hard to flip.
Yeah.
But Starlight is really easy. You just pay 2, which I mean is a lot of AT, like for a farming deck. But you do get a little bit extra from the power play, and maybe there's some other synergies there. I don't know.
Um, like most of the time, uh, one flip is enough, given the way this deck works. Um, like I'll admit, so in the Swiss game that I played against her, I was playing Thorax Purple
Hmm.
in the event, and so like it really was in sometimes kind of a clash of titans in face-offs. Like we had a few where we were talking in the 20s, face-offs between us.
Wow.
And so like yeah, maybe I guess in that particular matchup, the extra flips are probably pretty great. But like yeah, most of the time, you really don't have to care about extra flips to that extent. And yeah, good
Yeah,
thoughts.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty. It'll be pretty fun to see like a use for Starlight in a constructed format.
Like it's fair enough and kind of really unfortunate that if you are an orange and want a dragon main, you are probably better off running Starlight than Smolder most of the time.
Yeah,
It's
it
really
depends on the
unfortunate.
deck, but yeah.
Oh, great. Maybe I haven't thought too much about the fond memories cards. I guess we haven't seen that yet. Yeah, we haven't really seen a orange deck that does dragon stuff yet. But fair enough.
So next,
Next, sure. Next up is Smithers. That's right. Playing the other Thorax deck in the event. I guess,
Smithers playing blue? Never.
well, blue, but not a blue main.
Yeah, but
Which I
still
mean,
blue.
yeah, this is core. You better off on the yellow side usually.
Yeah, like if Smithers had an option to play Bluna, he would play Bluna.
um, in many respects, this is well similar, not the same, but similar to the deck that Instagram took to the top two. Obviously, Bunyips and the usual blues, Shoeshine, Billy Racers. Jonah was in Room's deck too. Um, and I mean, this is kind of the same thing that's been true for I think more than a couple of years now. That the blue yellow cards are just kind of the good ones are the ones that see play basically.
Yeah.
It's always Shoeshine, Philly Racers, Rocket Scooter, Chillax when they are unbanned.
We need Day Shift back.
Well, we kind of have Day Shift back in
Have Day Shift at
in
home.
in Vapor Trail, and I mean we'll get to it in the next deck, but it was pretty good for Instagram. Um, Otherwise, um, at this being a Thorax deck, we have to defend the hive, obviously. There aren't actually that many critter generators. Well, okay, Rocket Scooter is Pegasus generators. Friends are always there. Is critters, but other than
Shoeshine?
that, uh, Shoeshine technically, yes. Shoeshine more often is going to be a way to take down the number of friends you have in play
Yeah.
rather than add to them.
But I mean, you don't really need to generate critter. Like, your friends often do just fine, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every friend in this deck except for Swinging Wonders counts for Thorax.
I like Featherweight here. Kind of helps with the problem that our decks usually face. That they run out of steam.
Yeah. Featherweight was actually a standout in both of the blue yellow decks as well. Yeah, for the uh, in this deck especially, it's an early it is one of the early confront cards for Buckball, and then it goes home and probably stays there forever. Because chances are, at least from what I saw, the opponent usually doesn't use up removal on
Yeah.
featherweight. And so, yeah, it's just an extra draw for the rest of the game, unless you get like board wiped, basically, which is real good. Once upon a time, we used to ban a main that did that.
I mean, I would remove Featherweight. Extra draw per turn is pretty powerful. It's like not quite 180 worth of resources every turn, but close to that.
Yeah, I get well. Like if you're playing a control deck, which I guess you would be, um, and you've got plenty of removal, then I guess it makes sense. Yeah. If you're playing something that's got relatively limited in interaction, then you.
Oh, well, but what else would you remove here, right? So you have Shoeshine, which you would probably remove,
Mhm.
Bunyips,
Bunyips.
and I think the list ends there, right?
I think I would want to save removal for Philly Racers.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess there are a lot of things to remove in this deck. Well, I mean, just play control and remove them all.
That easy.
Problem solved.
Display control. Which I guess, yeah, I mean, Cheese did win. So fair enough. Shall we move on?
Yep.
Which takes us to our second place deck. Also yellow blue, though with a slightly different flavor to it. Still has the shoe shines, the Philly racers, the rocket scooters. In the yellow blue category, we also add in Fluttershy and Bulk for occasional extra points, and Vapor Trail, which, as I mentioned, is kind of your day shift at home.
Yeah.
But this deck has 8 dilemmas in it. Or sorry, no, I've missed the next row. 11 dilemmas in it. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's almost like blue yellow dilemmas are really good.
They are. I think I've seen, yeah, like in the games that I saw him play, all of these came in handy. Stuck together was very often +2 AT,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean, probably not going to play it unless it's giving you 2 AT, but
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, Sanctuary Construction, great in a tournament that had a lot of farm and, well, actually, did have a lot of farm per se. It was 2 farming decks.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still fair amount of farm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You go into Continentals, there's going to be some farm. Uh,
I
so,
mean, like 2 decks out of 8, it's like 25%. So,
well, there were 12 people in the tournament, but
oh, yeah, fair enough.
yeah, still, yeah, there's going to be some. Um, by the way, we already mentioned the Spooky Ruins is obviously great, both against farm and against the Chaos Control matchup. Um, so good to have that in there.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I think it's worth calling out just the power of this main itself. Um, I think like Instagram did a very good job of kind of keeping the action around his own problem deck, so that he was able to get a lot of benefit from his main, and also so
Yeah.
that he was able to see final questions a fair bit. Um, like I remarked watching the finals game how once upon a time white was the only color with point acceleration, and pink was the only color with card draw, and
Yeah.
purple was the only color that could generate AT. And here we are. You can do all 3 of them in yellow blue. So maybe not so surprising that the 2 colors are so strong together.
Yeah. And cards with a lot of power counters used to be orange, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we have Shoeshine.
Quite right.
Though, to be fair, Traveler is on a lot of cards.
Yeah. But yeah, the final, I guess, of the games that I saw and watched, if you haven't seen the stream yet, I would recommend the final match between Instagram and Cheese. It was a real good one. Really hard fought on both sides. And the rest of the stream, sure, of course, I'm
Yeah,
sure they were great. But yeah, I think it's worth it to start there. If you're only going to watch one match from Continentals, that's the one.
that makes sense. It'll be pretty underwhelming. No, not that's not the right. Disappointing if like the finals match wasn't
Yeah,
like was one sided or something. Which I mean can happen, but
it has happened Well, depends on your definition of one-sided. Like I know I always think back to the Bugle versus Cheese at Everfree that one year where it was just Nightmare Moon, nothing happened, and then Bugle conceded after like
I don't remember that.
uh it was a year that I was commentating. It was some time ago because I know like they were both playing DJ Main.
It Everfree?
I'm pretty sure that it was at Everfree.
Was it like it can't be Continentals, right? Because
Oh, okay. Maybe it wasn't Continentals. Maybe it was just an Everfree then. Yeah, because I guess it was I guess it was a best of one. Sorry about that.
yeah, but because like the before the pandemic, right? The
Yeah,
last Continentals was at Ciderfest.
that's right.
Either way, that was our tangent for today.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, found a way to get it in there. Shall we look at the top pieces deck?
Sure.
Uh, this is, of course, the deck that was displayed in SimStream. And this is Chaos Control. And I was, wait a second. That means that both of us were right in saying that Tantabus was the card that was going to be most underrated. Because here it is in the deck that won Continentals.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Even though, yeah, as I think I remember Cheese saying after the event that he like boarded out Tantabus in like every matchup and like never used it. But it's in the deck.
I guess. I'm not sure, so sure anymore that counts. Like, it's kind of the tree falling in the forest problem, right?
Right.
If the card is in the deck, but it was never played. Was it really in the deck?
Um, I'll admit and like I think I probably have to apologize to Grandpa's here again. I didn't actually watch that stream. I will eventually. But like the trick of using tender taps to get discord out of the discard pile was definitely a new one to me when I first saw this deck play, and it's a very nifty one. I
So it's like Cheerly, but like a little more involved, right?
basically yes,
Yeah.
yeah, you see it coming because discord has to go to the discard pile at
Yeah.
some point, but yeah, it is
I
essentially
really
Cheerly.
like Cheerly.
It was a good card. Yep. It's useful in a lot of different contexts. Um, well, especially against farm, obviously.
Yeah.
But also
But that's what Chaos Control is usually kind of designed to counter, right?
uh, generally, I guess, yeah. Um, and yeah, the deck makes great use of Furry Heart for the repeatable chaos abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm just looking at that. Oh, Tender Taps.
TT? 10. Ah, yeah.
Yes, mandatory. It is mandatory. That's right. Um, so yeah, well, yeah, I guess this deck isn't going to have like generally speaking is going to control its own discard pile pretty well. You're likely not going to have more friends in your discard pile than the one that you're thinking about maybe bringing back sometime. So yeah, I guess it would kind of make sense that if you accidentally flip a tender taps, you might kind of regret that. And that is kind of the something about this sort of style as compared to the old Doctor Who style, where you had basically complete control over the top of your deck. Uh,
Yeah.
there was a lot more having a Spike and Gabby on the field and just kind of fishing for luck. Um, at least that I saw this time around. And yeah, the deck's built such that you get lucky uh, more often than any other deck, say for example. Um, but you do kind of just see what's in the top two cards of your deck often enough and hope there's something good there.
I want to play this deck at some point. It looks fun.
Yeah, frankly, it's gotten me thinking about chaos again. Honestly, um, I've the next deck that I'm making for the adventure series is, I guess, I'll let the cat out of the bag. It's going to be a chaos deck, but a very different context than this. Anyway, that is that was the event. It was 6 rounds of Swiss and then top 8 spread over 2 days, and so far as I'm aware, everyone had a good time.
Yeah.
Myself especially. Um, so with Continentals over, what's next?
Oh, it's fall, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It is time for the Invitational to begin again. Uh, I did put a announcement up on Reddit. Did have the uh, all of the participants have agreed to join in. So we have our full list. I guess I will just quickly. Do I still have it open? Go find it. Here we go. So Grandpa's and Emily Sensible, they were our 2 finalists from last year. They're in automatically. Um, other than that, we had Bugle, who was, Bugle was dominant. I don't want to say dominant per se, but won a lot over the course of the year. Got his way in. Smithers and Cheese, naturally, the win at Continentals was a lot of points. And then I'm reading down the list of point getters, I guess. Then Pancake and Instagram, second place in the event is that basically got Instagram in. And Ivory Starlight being the last one. Those are 8. And I guess, as I promised in the announcement, the next thing to do is show off what the bracket's going to look like. This is going to be a double elimination event, just like we did last year.
Ooh.
There's going to be slightly more streamed matches. Last year we had a bit of a schedule crunch right up at the end, where the lower bracket needed to catch up to the upper bracket quickly. And so it led to some games that had to happen in pretty rapid succession. And so this year we're going to stream the lower bracket semifinals in addition to the lower bracket finals, which means that there will be 2 more stream matches. That part of the schedule will get stretched out a little bit more, and hopefully there won't be that problem again. So I guess I should just show everybody what we're looking at. And this, yeah, here it is. So up at the top, We're gonna
Yeah.
have Bugle versus Smithers, Ivory Starlight versus Cheese, Pancake versus Eminently Sensible, Josh Stewart, and Grand Paws versus Instagram. And that's how we'll be starting. And obviously, this is going to go up on Reddit, and everybody can look at it after the fact.
And it's gonna be also like core and adventure, right? Like last time.
Yes, yeah, same as last year, Corn Adventure. It some people had said to me that maybe it should be Harmony and Adventure this year, just to spice things up a bit. But most of the tournaments that came in were like Corn Adventure, so
If you
makes
really
sense
want
now.
to spice things up, you should play Popper in this tournament.
You know, that like Hopper would be kind of interesting. With such a smaller card pool, the requirement to make two decks that don't share cards, or at least don't share their cards that much, would be a much more significant restriction. Um, it's a
Yeah, but that could lead to people playing similar decks, though.
yeah, maybe it's something to keep on the pile, maybe for later. Uh, Sorry, Bugle. I know that you and Pancake were looking forward to your perennial round one match. This time you're on opposite sides of the bracket. You're not going to meet for a while, if you do meet. Uh,
They could meet in the losers bracket, right? No.
well, yeah. Let's see. Even
Yeah,
on the
even then they
loser
have
side,
to only on the 7th level.
yeah.
Shouldn't it be the other way around? I'm
Or
not sure. I don't.
no,
I don't remember how these are constructed.
it could be the second level. If Bugle wins his match against Smithers and then loses, he'll drop down
Oh
onto
yeah,
the
yeah,
bottom side. Yeah.
yeah. So there you go. You just have to win your first match and lose your second match.
I get the sense that they're going to be playing in the tournament with goals other than just playing against each other. But anyway,
Nonsense.
yeah. So this is, I guess, kind of the official start of the deck building period. Uh, uh, the deck submissions are due on the 16th. So it's 2 weeks from now. I do still need to get the form up for that. I'll probably see about doing that sometime this week. Otherwise, looking forward to a good tournament again this year.
Yeah. Also looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I guess that's another thing to say is that at the end of last year, we did a kind of special uh, commentary stream where we had Grandpa's and Eminently on to do the commentary for their last match, and that seemed to go pretty well. So we're going to try to do that again this year to the extent possible. Obviously, harder to um, coordinate getting 2+ people on to do commentary. So we might do some pre-recording of the commentary and then just play it back on the stream night. But yeah, we're gonna be trying to replicate that to the extent possible. And yes, Grandpa's. The bracket's gonna be going up on Reddit, and then I will link to it in Discord as soon as the stream's over. Speaking of, well, that brings us to the end of the prepared content today, and with 5 minutes to spare. Is there anything else
Yeah.
you wanted to bring up, Hithrock?
No, not really. Did
No.
you have anything in mind?
I don't really think so. We will. I mean, there is still the adventure tournament to talk about. We might get to that 2 weeks from now, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. As is usual, our regular streaming schedule will continue through the Invitational. So 2 weeks from now, well, yeah, 2 weeks from now will be the first regular stream, and then the first gameplay stream will be the 24th. So look forward to that. Otherwise, thank you everyone for coming out and being in the audience for the stream today. I have been Cursor Chords,
I've been Hifrock.
and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.